Just gonna say this right now, no matter what your opinion is on this record or on Shawn Mendes in general, I think we can all agree on one thing: his handwriting sucks. During the promo cycle for this album, Shawn was releasing several written messages on his Instagram, and outside of the captions, I couldn't tell at all what the hell he was trying to say with them. Just wanted to say that now. Let's not make this a review of Shawn Mendes' handwriting, let's just get on to the music. Yes, Shawn Mendes is back with his 4th studio album, Wonder. Shawn Mendes, you know him by now, he's a popular singer-songwriter from Canada. As I said, this is his 4th studio album, and it's come as his profile has risen quite a bit. His first 3 studio albums had their share of popular hits. I personally enjoyed his music quite a bit, and after the release of his self-titled 2018 album, Shawn had 2 of his biggest hits to date. The track If I Can't Have You hit number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100, while the collaboration Señorita with his girlfriend Camila Cabello became his first number 1 single on the Hot 100. Now, I love both tracks a lot, but while I thought they were hinting at the direction of this album, I was dead wrong. Both tracks merely ended up on the Deluxe Edition of his self-titled record. Instead, Shawn announced the release of this album rather recently while dropping the title track as well as another top 10 peaking single in Monster with Justin Bieber. I didn't initially get to give the singles as many listens as I would have liked, but I was excited to listen to the record in its entirety. It's 14 tracks and 39 minutes, which is a tad shorter than Shawn's last album, though in my eyes it certainly doesn't sacrifice that record's quality. Ignoring the intro track, which is a minute-long piano piece inspired by Bohemian Rhapsody, the album properly kicks off with the title track, Wonder. It's a heavenly single that sees Shawn in a very reflective state. It's emotional, his vocals are powerful, and it feels like it works in many of the same ways that In My Blood worked on his last album. It has that almost arena-like sound to it that I liked so much before. Higher is a bit of a different direction for Shawn in that it shows him getting his feet wet in the world of synth-pop. It does maintain that groovy bass line that you might recognize from some of his best songs, but what makes the track work is the natural charisma of Shawn's vocals as well as the immediacy and catchiness of the chorus. I feel like Shawn has always been able to craft strong hooks, and this song is no different. 24 Hours is a classic Shawn Mendes love song, but unlike his previously guitar-driven tracks, this is a piano ballad. The lyrics center around marriage, and honestly, this is a track that's too sweet and lovely for me to resist. I also personally love hearing Shawn sing over a piano instrumental. His vocals are a bit more delicate, and I think that matches the romantic vibe of the track. This is probably my favorite song on the album. I really love it. Teach Me How to Love is also a surprising move into a new disco direction on a track that actually has contributions from Anderson .Paak. Respect. The song actually has a similar vibe to something Harry Styles would do, and hell, Shawn even mentioned strawberries on here, so I guess he's telling Harry, hey, I know you mentioned strawberries on your song, but you called it watermelon sugar, so let's share the strawberries. I feel like some might not like the track because it does actually feel reminiscent of watermelon sugar, but I'm actually okay with it. I love the vintage sound of the guitars. It feels like there's almost 2 or 3 hooks here that all work, and Shawn's vocals shine, especially as he jumps into his higher register. Call My Friends is a track about Shawn's experiences on tour and missing his friends and normal life. While it starts off light, it does explode into something much busier, with heavier rock guitars and a bigger drum beat. I wasn't initially sure what to think of it, but I think the varied instrumental creates a great atmosphere, and Shawn's vocals work well for the more emphatic sound. Song for No One is a more sparse guitar ballad that Shawn made while in an extreme state of heartbreak. I think the song works very well in how minimal it is, and I think the pain in Shawn's vocals is palpable. I was also surprised by the beat switch near the end of the song, which changes it into something more swingy. It works well though, and I think Shawn's upper register vocals are strong too. The single Monster featuring Justin Bieber is a more mellow track that deals with life's perils and uncertainties. I enjoy the vocal interplay between Shawn and Justin on the track, and I actually think Bieber's contribution is particularly great. He speaks a lot about growing up in the spotlight and gets introspective as he comes to terms with a lot of the mistakes he made and controversies he was involved in during his youth. I actually like this direction that Justin's going in, and I actually hope he moves into it a bit more in his future solo music. 305 is an interesting change of pace as well. It sees Shawn tackling more of a doo-wop vibe that feels a lot busier. I think it works though, thanks largely to Shawn's more light vocals and the way he crafts a catchy hook that matches nicely with the bustling instrumentals. Always Been You is a bit more of an orchestral song, with lyrics that clearly address Shawn's love for Camila Cabello. Most of the track is really quiet, but on the chorus it gets massive, only cutting out when Shawn comes in to sing in a few moments. Initially I wasn't sure that it worked, but honestly I quite like it. Shawn's vocals work beautifully in the more mellow moments, and the banging drums don't take away from the beauty of the track. Piece of You is this bouncy, danceable bop that almost feels like a bit more of a 4 on the floor track. It's a pretty lovely song though, with a varied feel that carries a bit of a spacey vibe, and Shawn's vocals are as solid as usual, especially as he slides into his upper register on the chorus. And Look Up at the Stars is another piano ballad, but one that grows into something a bit more dreamy with a slower drum beat and a somewhat synth-like vibe. It's definitely the type of track that feels perfect for a wedding, and Shawn sells it and turns it into something beautiful. Really, I feel like Dream is the only cut on here I wasn't all that crazy about, and even then it's not that bad. It's another song that starts off feeling a bit more minimal before jumping into something bigger. It's very sweet, and I think the chorus has a few good ideas going for it, but overall it just feels a little more bland than a number of the other high points here. But there's still a few neat ideas going on here, and I think it could grow on me with a few more listens. And the album also tops off nicely with the track Can't Imagine. While this is hardly the first cut on the album about Camila, it's probably the most raw song here, as Shawn talks about how hard it would be to imagine a world without her. It's also the most stripped back song here, with only some light guitar plucks from Shawn. I enjoy it a lot though, and I think Shawn's somewhat broken vocals add to the heart-clenching nature of it and make it a lovely finisher to the album. Overall, I know I'm probably in the minority here, but I thoroughly enjoyed my time with Shawn Mendes' new album. For some, I can see why it wouldn't be the most appealing listen because of its simplicity, but I personally just kind of love the emotional vibes of Shawn's work, and I can listen to this guy sing all day. Vocally, he sounds lovely all throughout the album, handling a lot of different styles, but sounding great no matter what. I also appreciated some of his experimentation on the record. Yes, he brings about his usual ballads, but he also dips his feet into a few other genres and styles and does a nice job with them. I think that also opens the door for even more interesting ideas in the future. And even in the points where he might play it safe, I think Shawn is such a talented artist with a solid sound that even his safe music is stuff I can get behind. It's a sweet, solid dissection of romance and coming-of-age themes, all to the backdrop of very nice pop instrumentals and smooth vocals. Will everyone love it as much as I did? No, but I had an amazing time with it, and I think Shawn continues to put out great music. So much so that on my rating scale, I'm definitely going to say that Shawn Mendes' Wonder is going to get an excellent rating from me. Again, I'm sure many people will disagree, but I had a great time with this. It's a very sweet and lovely album. I definitely highly recommend you give it a shot, and if you're a Shawn Mendes fan, I know that you are going to love this thing. But even if not, there's enough high points on here that I'm sure you can pull something from it. Regardless, I had a great time with it. Check it out. But that's just my opinion on this album. What did you guys think about it? Did you love it as much as I did? Did you hate it way more than I did? Are you completely indifferent to Shawn's music? And what's your favorite Shawn Mendes album? Would you say that Wonder is your favorite, or is there something else that he has that you like more? Personally, I'm not too sure if I would put this above his self-titled album yet, but what do you guys think? Leave your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's keep this civil and have some fun as we like to do. If you guys want to hit like and subscribe, thank you. If not, totally understand, no big deal, I won't beg you for it. And if you guys want to support my passion for content creation by subscribing to my OnlyFans, where I create exclusive music review and poetry content for $4.99 a month, the link to that is in the description as well. Again, it's no big deal if you can't or don't want to. I won't beg, and I totally understand, and I greatly appreciate anyone who is able to. I thought this was going to be my last album review of 2020, but it turns out that it's not, because next week Jack Harlow is releasing his debut album, and I feel like that's going to be pretty big, and I personally want to check it out myself, so I will have a review of that next week. And then, unless anyone else has any surprise albums that they're going to be dropping in the last few weeks of 2020, I'll be moving right into list mode after that. So stay tuned for those videos, but until next time, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.